I never thought family could hurt you worse than strangers, but I learned that lesson the hard way. At 29, my customized wheelchair was my lifeline to independence, after a college accident changed everything. That $2,500 chair was specially built just for me, letting me work, socialize, and live on my own terms. When my cousin destroyed it as a joke, he took more than property. He took my dignity. Before I continue my story, let me know where you are watching from in the comments below. Do not forget to subscribe and hit the like button if family drama gets your attention. Trust me, you will want to hear how this ends. Life changed for me during my sophomore year of college. I was driving back from a late-night study session when a drunk driver swerved into my lane. The impact was brutal. I woke up in the hospital to news that would forever alter my path. The spinal cord damage meant I would need a wheelchair for mobility. The following 2 years were a blur of physical therapy, adapting to a new normal, and learning to navigate the world from a seated position. My parents, bless their hearts, spent countless hours researching the best mobility options. That is how I ended up with my custom wheelchair. It was not just any chair. This was a high-quality, ultralight titanium frame, with special cushioning to prevent pressure sores, adjustable components that perfectly fit my body, and small electric assist motors to help with inclines. $2,500 might sound steep for a wheelchair, but when something becomes your legs, the investment makes perfect sense. By 29, I had built a good life for myself. I secured a remote position as a software developer for a tech company in Austin. My apartment was modified for accessibility, and I had established solid routines. That wheelchair allowed me to cook my own meals, transfer myself in and out of bed, and even go to the gym regularly, where I worked with a trainer specialized in adaptive fitness. Independence meant everything to me after those early months of total dependence. My family had always been close-knit. My parents, younger sister Amanda, and I spent holidays with the extended family at various homes. Annual summer reunions at Uncle Frank's lakeside property were a tradition going back to before I was born. Uncle Frank was my dad's older brother, a successful real estate developer with a sprawling lake house in Michigan that could comfortably host the whole clan. That is where I first really got to know my cousin Travis. He was Uncle Frank's middle son, about 26 at the time of the incident. Travis had always been the family troublemaker. Growing up, he was the kid who put salt in the sugar bowl and plastic wrap over toilet seats. As an adult, his pranks had grown more elaborate, but no less juvenile. At the previous Christmas gathering, he had spiked the eggnog with extra bourbon, causing my 80-year-old grandmother to become uncharacteristically tipsy. Everyone laughed it off as just Travis being Travis. I had mostly avoided becoming his target. Perhaps he thought my disability made me off limits, or maybe we just did not cross paths enough. I only saw Travis at these family gatherings, and we had little in common. He worked sporadically at his father's company, lived in his parents' guest house, and spent most of his time trying to become a social media prankster with dreams of viral fame. The reunion that changed everything took place last July. I arrived on Friday afternoon, navigating my wheelchair up the newly installed ramp Uncle Frank had added the previous year. The first evening was pleasant enough. My grandparents fussed over me as usual. Aunts and uncles caught me up on family gossip, and cousins shared career updates and relationship news. Travis arrived late, making a grand entrance with coolers full of craft beer and a new drone he insisted on demonstrating indoors, until Aunt Margaret nearly had a heart attack when it buzzed her hair. During dinner, he took the seat across from me and made several comments that, in retrospect, should have been warning signs. "Got your seat saved permanently, huh, Justin?" He snickered when I positioned myself at the table. Later, when I declined another beer, he said, "What is wrong? Afraid you will get a rolling under the influence ticket on that thing." I brushed these comments off, not wanting to create tension. After dinner, the family gathered around the fire pit near the lake. Travis began filming everyone with his phone, declaring he was collecting footage for his reunion prank video. Most people hampered it up, used to his antics. I kept to myself, enjoying the fire, and the night sky reflected on the lake. If only I had known what was coming. Saturday morning broke warm and sunny. After breakfast on the deck, many of the younger cousins headed down to the dock for swimming. I joined them to socialize, but stayed on the deck in my swimsuit. Getting in and out of the water was possible, but cumbersome, and I decided to just enjoy the sun instead. "Coming in, Justin," my cousin Rachel called from the water. "Not today." "I will just watch you all make fools of yourselves," I replied with a smile. I transferred from my wheelchair to one of the wooden deck chairs to get more comfortable, leaving my wheelchair parked nearby. This was something I did routinely, feeling secure among family. The morning progressed pleasantly. I was chatting with Rachel and her husband when I noticed Travis was nowhere to be seen. I thought nothing of it until I heard a commotion from the dock. "Travis, what are you doing?" someone yelled. I turned to look just in time to see Travis wheeling my chair down the dock at running speed, phone held out in front of him, filming the whole thing. "Check out Wheelchair Water Sports," he shouted directly into the camera before pushing my $2,500 custom-fitted partially electronic mobility aid off the edge of the dock. Time seemed to slow down. I watched in horror as my independence, my mobility, my lifeline splashed into the lake and began to sink. The cushion floated momentarily before becoming waterlogged. The metal frame glinted underwater as it descended to the muddy bottom. Travis stood at the edge laughing hysterically and narrating for his video. "Oh man, Justin is gonna freak. This is gonna get so many views." The family erupted in chaos. My Uncle George dove into the water and managed to drag the chair up from the bottom of the lake. Water poured from the frame and electronic components. The cushion was completely soaked, the small motor obviously ruined. My initial reaction was pure shock. Then panic set in as I realized I was effectively stranded. I was sitting in a wooden chair on the deck, my means of mobility destroyed. "What the hell, Travis?" I finally managed to say, my voice shaking. Travis bounded up from the dock, still filming. "It is just a joke, man. We can dry it off, you idiot," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "The electronics are ruined. The motor, the control panel, the battery, not to mention the custom cushion." "Do you have any idea what you just did?" Travis lowered his phone, his smile faltering slightly. "Come on, it cannot be that serious. It is just a chair. Just a chair." My voice rose despite my efforts to remain calm. "That chair cost $2,500. It is custom fitted to prevent pressure sores. The small motor helps me navigate inclines. Everything is waterlogged and ruined." Uncle Frank appeared at Travis's side, placing a hand on his son's shoulder. Now let us not overreact. Boys will be boys. We will figure something out." Travis's mother, Aunt Laura, examined the dripping wheelchair with a skeptical expression. "It cannot possibly cost that much." "You must be exaggerating, Justin." The realization hit me that they did not understand, or worse, did not care to understand. I was stuck in a regular chair, unable to move around independently, while my relatives downplayed the severity of what had just happened. My father, seeing my distress, intervened. "That chair was custom-made for Justin's specific needs. It absolutely did cost that much, and now it is ruined." What followed was humiliating. My father and uncle had to carry me back to the house like a child. They placed me in an old transport wheelchair. Uncle Frank kept in his garage for his own father before he passed. It was basic, heavy, uncomfortable, and far too wide for me. I could barely propel myself in it. That night I heard laughter from the den where Travis was showing his video to some of the younger cousins. Their reactions evidently delighted him. His face when it went in, one cousin chortled. Priceless. During dinner, I raised the issue of replacement. "Travis, you need to pay for a new wheelchair. The one you destroyed was $2,500. A hush fell over the table. Uncle Frank cleared his throat. "That seems excessive for a wheelchair. I am sure we can find a reasonable solution. How about I contribute $500 toward a replacement? That seems generous." I stared at him in disbelief. "It is not about generosity. It is about responsibility." Travis destroyed essential medical equipment. The cost is what it is. Travis rolled his eyes. "You have insurance, right? Just make a claim." "That is not how it works," I explained, trying to keep my tone even. "Insurance will not cover intentional damage by a family member." The dinner dissolved into the first real argument our family had experienced at one of these gatherings. Lines were being drawn, with some relatives supporting me and others thinking I was overreacting to what they considered a harmless prank. I left the reunion early the next day. Getting home was a nightmare. The borrowed transport wheelchair barely fit in my car. My father had to help me break it down, and I struggled with it at every point of the journey home. Monday morning, I called my insurance company. As I suspected, they would not cover the damage since it was caused intentionally by someone else. They suggested I pursue compensation from the person responsible. The physical toll began almost immediately. The borrowed wheelchair's poor fit caused pain in my shoulders and back. My doctor confirmed what I already knew during an emergency appointment. "This chair is all wrong for you," Dr. Mercer said after examining me. "The dimensions are causing strain on your upper body, and there is no proper support for your spine. You need your customized chair back as soon as possible." My medical supplier provided a detailed breakdown of replacement costs. The frame alone was $1,200. The custom cushion specially molded for my body was $350. The small electric assist components were $700. Various other customized elements made up the remaining $250. I called Uncle Frank hoping for a reasonable discussion now that tempers had cooled. "$500 is my final offer," he stated firmly after I explained the breakdown of costs. Travis did not mean any harm. "You need to learn to take a joke." "This is not about jokes," I insisted. "This is about replacing necessary medical equipment that was deliberately damaged." "Well, taking it to small claims, court would certainly destroy this family," he replied, his tone suddenly icy. "Is that what you want?" Meanwhile, Travis texted me directly. "Dude, stop being so dramatic. It was funny. Everyone thinks you are overreacting." I discovered that Travis had posted the video online with the caption, "Cousin cannot take a joke," and a laughing emoji. The comments section was filled with strangers mocking my reaction, calling me uptight and worse. He had edited out the aftermath, making it seem like everyone had a good laugh about it. My parents supported me, but worried about the family rift this was causing. "We will help you with the cost," my mother offered. Maybe that is easier than fighting with Frank. But something in me rebelled against this solution. Why should my parents bear the cost of Travis's actions? Why should destructive behavior go unchallenged yet again? My research into small claims court revealed a straightforward process. I would need to document the damage, the cost of replacement, and show that Travis was responsible. The video he proudly shared online would be Exhibit A. I sent a formal email to both Travis and Uncle Frank attaching the itemized costs from my medical supplier, pictures of the damaged wheelchair, and screenshots of Travis's social media post. "I expect full reimbursement of $2,500 within 14 days," I concluded. "Otherwise, I will be forced to file in small claims court." Travis's reply came within minutes, a string of laughing emojis followed by "Sue me if you want to be that guy who tears the family apart over a joke." What cemented my resolve was a conversation with my cousin Rachel the next day. She called to offer support and revealed something I had not known. "Last year, Travis destroyed my husband's gaming computer by spilling beer on it accidentally while filming a prank," she confided. "Uncle Frank paid $300 toward a replacement that actually cost over $2,000. We gave up fighting about it to keep the peace. A pattern emerged of property destruction without consequences." Travis had never learned that actions have repercussions because his father always minimized the damage and offered token compensation. I consulted with a lawyer friend who confirmed this was a clear-cut case of property damage. "The video alone proves intent," she said. Small claims court would be very straightforward. The decision to file the lawsuit triggered a family text chain explosion. Some relatives cut contact immediately. Others privately expressed support but were unwilling to say so publicly for fear of Uncle Frank's reaction. Filing the paperwork for small claims court was surprisingly easy. The clerk was helpful, and the filing fee was minimal. I submitted all my documentation, including the video Travis had so helpfully provided, the medical assessment of the damage, and the replacement cost breakdown. The most difficult part was the division in my family. My grandparents called distressed about the situation. Family should not take family to court. My grandmother said, her voice quavering, "Can you not find it in your heart to forgive Travis? He is young and foolish." "I forgive him," I replied honestly. "But forgiveness does not mean he should not make things right. Would you tell a store owner to forgive a thief but let them keep what they stole?" Meanwhile, Travis continued posting on social media, mocking the lawsuit. Guess who is getting sued by their own cousin? Apparently, wheelchairs cannot swim. He seemed to think the whole thing was hilarious, and that the court would dismiss the case immediately. Uncle Frank called with barely contained fury. "You are destroying this family over material things," he growled. "No one will ever look at you the same after this. Is that what you want?" What he did not understand was that I was already experiencing the reality of Travis's actions. The borrowed wheelchair was causing me daily pain. I had to reduce my work hours because sitting improperly was creating pressure sores. My independence was significantly reduced, requiring grocery delivery and help with tasks I normally managed alone. Court day arrived 6 weeks after filing. The courthouse's accessibility was challenging, adding insult to injury. Travis and Uncle Frank arrived, looking confident. Travis still smirking as if this were all an elaborate joke. The judge was a no-nonsense woman in her 60s, who quickly cut through the family drama to focus on the facts. "So you pushed your cousin's customized wheelchair into a lake while filming it for social media," she clarified, looking at Travis over her reading glasses. "It was just a prank," Travis replied, his smile faltering under her steady gaze. "Everyone was having fun." "Did you know the wheelchair contained electronic components?" she asked. "Well, yeah, but I thought they would dry out or whatever." Travis admitted, digging himself deeper. Uncle Frank testified that the replacement cost was excessive and that I was exploiting the situation for financial gain. $2,500 is highway robbery for a wheelchair, he insisted. He could get a perfectly adequate one for a few hundred. The judge asked me to explain the customized nature of the chair, which I did in detail, supported by documentation from my medical provider. "This is not about purchasing a generic replacement," I explained. "This is about replacing a medical device specifically designed for my body and needs." The judge's ruling was unequivocal. The court finds in favor of the plaintiff in the amount of $2,500 plus court costs. The defendant willfully destroyed property and must make restitution. Travis's face registered shock for the first time. He had genuinely believed his actions would have no serious consequences, as had always been the case before. Uncle Frank's face turned red with anger, but he pulled out his checkbook in the hallway after the hearing. "I hope you are happy," he said, thrusting the check at me. "This is the last family event you will be invited to." I accepted the check without comment, feeling a mix of vindication and sadness. Some relatives texted congratulations after hearing the news. Others sent messages expressing disappointment in my choice to escalate the situation. The family had indeed been divided, but not by my actions, I realized, but by Travis's behavior and those who enabled it. The court money allowed me to purchase not just a replacement, but an upgraded wheelchair with improved features. Within weeks, my physical discomfort subsided, and I regained my independence. The emotional aftermath took longer to heal. I made deliberate choices about which family relationships to maintain. Those who had supported me, or at least acknowledged the seriousness of what happened, remained in my life. Those who had dismissed my needs or defended Travis's actions received polite but firm distance. That Thanksgiving was the first holiday where the family gathered in separate locations. My parents, sister, and supportive relatives celebrated at my home instead of Uncle Frank's. It was smaller but more genuine. The experience taught me profound lessons about boundaries, respect, and standing up for myself. I learned that some family ties needed to be loosened if they became chains. Most importantly, I discovered my own strength in adversity. Travis reached out a year later after he pulled a similar prank on a friend's car, causing significant damage. His friend pressed charges for vandalism. Suddenly facing legal consequences again, Travis finally seemed to understand the impact of his actions. "I never really got why you were so upset," he admitted over the phone. "But now someone is doing the same thing to me, and it sucks. I am sorry about your wheelchair." His apology came too late to fully repair our relationship, but it suggested growth that gave me hope for his future. Life has a way of teaching necessary lessons, sometimes through difficult experiences. I never wanted to be the one who took a family member to court, but I do not regret standing up for myself. Sometimes respect must be demanded before it can be freely given. Have you ever had to stand firm against family pressure to do what you knew was right? Share your experience in the comments below. If this story resonated with you, please like and subscribe to hear more real-life experiences. Do not forget to share this video with someone who might need encouragement to set healthy boundaries. Thank you for listening to my story, and remember that your dignity is never worth sacrificing, even for family peace.